Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. Alright, we're pretty far along. I just skipped the short trip from Ingward to the floodgates here, but we're gonna go on ahead and open them. As you saw at the end of last episode, I did go on ahead and just take care of getting my curse broken. So you saw it there. And we're not gonna worry about getting cursed anymore, so... Our primary objective for the rest of this playthrough, though, is more or less the Lord Souls, some alternate endings to two particular quest lines, Solaires and Siegmeyers, because they each have alternate, I guess, endings, quote-unquote, depending on your actions. And it's sort of very... not subtle things, but very particular things. And we showed off the way to get their full-on ending, or at least their proper ending, in the first playthrough. So for this playthrough, we're going to focus on what happens if you flub something up, or if you do something in a different manner. We get or for both of them, actually, we get unique rewards, because, yeah, in Solaire's case, we get some particularly interesting stuff. This guy is... wiping the floor with me. I'm sorry, guys. There you go. Alright, actually, I mean, to be completely honest, it would be smarter just to run back to the beginning of New Londo and just take the drop there, not have to worry about all these Darkwraiths. I might actually do that. So, aside from the quest lines and the Lord Souls, and of course the alternate ending that we haven't shown off yet, the other things I'd like to show off are primarily Covenant-based, so I want to show off the rewards that you can get, you know, at the highest ranking rewards in each Covenant, if possible. Some of them, you know, there are some subtle rewards, like I think in the Darkwraith Covenant, which we haven't actually seen yet. That's what we're probably going to show off, actually, this episode. But, if you reach +3 in the Darkwraith Covenant, what happens is you actually get, I believe, a buff to your Dark Hand, which I think is like you get double the humanity for each humanity suck or soul suck or whatever you want to call that ability. But it essentially powers that up, and that alone, I think, is the idea of it. I forgot that this big sludge guy behind the Darkwraith here spawns. Kind of forgot about him. Let's see if we can't safely get past. Yep. As his appearance would allow us to deduce, he's a bit sluggish, which is good for us. All right, so we're about to face the Four Kings. As I said, we have not spoken with Frompt, Kingseeker Frompt, and we have not placed the Lord Vessel. And that is the integral step to the alternate outcome of this boss fight. I'm saying that now, but I don't know that this will be the successful attempt, but I'm just letting you know beforehand. And beyond the alternate ending, before we do any of that and all the Covenant stuff, or after all the Covenant stuff probably, I do want to do a few bonus videos just showing off the spells we've obtained that we can cast. Oh! Oh! You know why that happened? I didn't put on the Covenant of Artorias. Well, now you know what happens if you don't put on the Covenant of Artorias, you dingbat. Oh my god. I wasn't calling you a dingbat. I'm the dingbat. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. But yeah, I'd like to show off all of the miracles, pyromancies, and sorceries that I can. I don't have that much intelligence on my character, and, you know, in real life too. But on my character, so I won't be able to show off all the sorceries, because there are some very ridiculous ones. And same thing with miracles. You need, like, upwards of 50 faith, I think, to cast the highest miracle, which is Sunlight Spear, I think. If I'm thinking right. I don't know if I am, though. And I think that the Princess Guard miracles are also kind of... So we got the Covenant of Artorias on now. They're also somewhat difficult to, oh gosh. Okay, cool, we made it. I mean, you have to be in the Princess Guard Covenant just to cast them, and then they also take a lot of faith to use. But anyways, 4 kings now. We'll talk about that later. Alright, so New Game, they weren't too bad. New Game Plus, they become quite a bit nastier. It is still just as much a damage race as it ever was. And you see they are still quite a bit of a pain. They've got lots of health, and you really have to be playing at your absolute best possible. Just going for the AoE. I managed to block it, but I should have been rolling back further, probably. Oh, don't run away from me. He's doing his range. I'm gonna get hit by this, but I'll do as much damage to him in the meantime. See, like, I don't understand how that first swing does nothing to you, but then the second does, like, 90% of your health bar. I'm sure I can't be the only person who's like, why does that even happen? Oh! Ouch. Oh, there's our second king, and he's tossed some deadly projectiles at us. Okay. Sunlight Blade would be helpful here. I'm taking a lot of hits. And I'm not really getting far enough away to evade. Yeah, it's really hard to place ranges here, so forgive me for that. I think at one point their swords were actually a boss weapon that you could obtain, or like it's an unused weapon that you could use. And I think there's also a boss who had kind of a similar design to them called Undead King Jar-Eel. And he's got some interesting stuff going on with him too. You can actually see, like, you can see him allocated with, like, Gwyn's moveset or something in the game. I don't remember where. I think it's the same person who did the videos I mentioned a long time back on like a lot of the DLC unused content, like a very early version of the Sanctuary Guardian Chimera, and then a prototype of Marvelous Chester. A bunch of cool stuff like that. But King Jar-Eel, if you look up like Dark Souls unused content, King Jar-Eel, you'll probably find the guy who uploaded it. Really cool stuff. So I recommend you check it out. King Jar-Eel is like damn cool looking, but I guess he didn't make the cut, or he didn't fit in anywhere, or maybe the 4 kings took his place. Because I feel like he definitely fits their appearance, and being an undead king, they're sort of similar, except they've been like turned into these strange warped beings by the Abyss. But being kings themselves, kings of New Londo, maybe they themselves were undead. But twisted by the Abyss, as I said. Almost like Manus, you know, maybe some mirroring things, similarities between those two. Alright, I'm gonna try and operate this a tiny bit differently now. I'm going to Sunlight Blade as soon as we hit the ground. I think that's probably a wise approach to this, so. Okay. Impact. And now Sunlight. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. So our Soul Stain is where we're heading anyways. That's fortunate. A little bit out of our way, but we can deal. Oh, man. Alright, that wasn't too bad. So you just gotta dodge as much as you can. And just try and hit as fast as you can. And that's really the way to do this fight. It can take a few tries, it's a little random sometimes, and, you know, that's what makes it tough. But if you're confident and you really get the jump on these guys, I wish I hadn't missed that hit, things will go okay for you. Oh, sweet. Alright, I wasn't sure if dodging past him was going to work. I didn't know if his tracking was too good for that. Oh, there's the AoE. Yep, not getting away from that, so we're going to block. And there goes my Sunlight Blade. Ah, no! The third one's probably already spawned. I should really try and dodge into that. Oh, one more. Come on, baby. There you go. Alright, there's number 3. See, this is tough. Soloing this fight is quite a challenge. This fight in general is a challenge. And sometimes you can just tank those hits. Like, you almost have to, just to keep your speed going. Make sure you're making good time on them. See, like, I'll take that shot because it barely does anything to me. And we got a 3rd. Alright. Where's number 4? Oh, he's right in. Ah, I dodged right into it. How much damage does this do? Probably a lot. Yeah, a little over half. And they will continue to spawn, like I said. This is the 4th king, but that doesn't mean anything. So we gotta stay aggressive. We can't back off. We can't wait. Oh god. Okay, got out of the way. Oh god. It's not helpful when he does it twice in a row. I think I saw another one spawned. Yeah, there's another one right next to us. Come on, just a few more shots. One more. Yes! My hand shook a little bit there. Oh, and what is this? Yonder. Another primordial serpent appears. And, sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Look at the texture on his forehead. I mean, you don't get to see this angle of a primordial serpent often, but dear lord. That texture. Mm. Anyways, this is Darkstalker Kaathe. He is going to give us a slightly different interpretation of our actual goal here. He's going to be a little more honest with us, but that said, he's still working under his own purposes, and he has some less than genuine intentions with us, even though he is more honest than Frompt. Anyways, let's talk to him already.
Greetings, undead warrior. I am the primordial serpent, Darkstalker Kaathe. I can guide thee and illuminate the truth. The truth I shall share without sentiment. After the advent of fire, the ancient lords found the 3 souls, but your progenitor found a 4th, unique soul, the Dark Soul. Your ancestor claimed the Dark Souls and waited for fire to subside, and soon the flames did fade, and only dark remained. Thus began the Age of Men, the Age of Dark. However, Lord Gwyn trembled at the dark, clinging to his Age of Fire and in dire fear of humans, and the Dark Lord who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Gwyn resisted the course of nature by sacrificing himself to link the fire and commanding his children to shepherd the humans. Gwyn has blurred your past to prevent the birth of the Dark Lord. I am the primordial serpent. I seek to right the wrongs of the past, to discover our true Lord. But the other serpent, Frompt, lost his sense and befriended Lord Gwyn. Undead warrior, we stand at a crossroads. Only I know the truth about your fate. You must destroy the fading Lord Gwyn, who has coddled fire and resisted nature, and become the 4th Lord, so that you may usher in an age of dark. Very well. I shall now guide you to Gwyn's prison. Be still, and trust thine flesh to me. This is Gwyn's prison. Now, place the Lord Vessel upon the altar.
So that's a lot to take in right there. He kind of blows your mind and gives you a much different interpretation of what's going on. Maybe not blows your mind, maybe I'm over-exaggerating. But what I like about Kaathe, and Kaathe is a terrible dude, like, let me put that out there. I mentioned that in Marvelous Chester's dialogue, he mentions that toothy serpent essentially tricked the people of Ulasil to awaken primordial man, Manus, the father of the Abyss, and caused chaos. He's also the one at the heart of New Londo's fall, which drowned all those people, all those corpses you see flooded, or in the flooded underparts of New Londo. So he is in no way innocent. He has done some terrible things, and that is, you know, not something to forget. That said, he gives it to you pretty straight. He tells you that Frompt has he's lost his senses and befriended Lord Gwyn, and that Gwyn has coddled the Age of Fire. I've used this expression before, and maybe used it not in the best sense, because, I mean, there are positives to linking the fire. But the thing is, Frompt and Guinevere never expressly tell you that succeeding Lord Gwyn entails burning yourself as kindling for the first flame, because that's what it is. It's a self-sacrifice, and nobody really tells you that. So a lot of the time, your first playthrough, when you get to the good end, you're really confused, because it's like, what did I just do? The Dark Lord end, on the other hand, I don't want to give it all away, but he kind of tells you there, you have to become the fourth Lord. You have to usher in the Age of Dark, because the Age of Dark is the Age of Man. And therefore, our goal here is to end the Age of Fire. So it's really all up to your own interpretation, whether you believe that, or whether you believe in Lord Gwyn's cause and Knight Artorias and all of these, you know, godly characters, who you side with. But it's really ambiguous, and neither ending is really a true good ending. So that's what I love about it, and that's what I think is incredibly well done. So we're going to focus a lot on this for this episode. I'm going to kind of keep it here because there's so much to discuss, but...
What is it? Place the Lord Vessel upon the altar.
It gets a little impatient with you. Let's do it. Alright, so it's essentially the same as before. He fulfills the same exact role in terms of game progression as Frompt, but he's a lot more subtle and a little more difficult to get to. You kind of have to, not sequence break, but kind of do things out of order, not in the way you would think you would, and that's why it's kind of difficult to find Kaathe. And not just in a storyline perspective, he's also a Covenant leader, which we'll find out in a little while here. So the way to the other three Lord Souls is open now. The other thing that I'd really like to talk about is when he talks about our progenitor, this is the furtive pygmy he's talking about. We barely ever hear mention of the furtive pygmy, but in the intro cutscene, we hear that the furtive pygmy so easily forgotten found his own soul. And what Kaathe refers to here is that the furtive pygmy, our progenitor, and the progenitor of all mankind, I believe, found the Dark Soul. And what he did with the Dark Soul is more interesting than really what any of the other lords did with their own. They used it to amass great power, and they used it to defeat the dragons and usher in their own age, their Age of Fire. But the thing is, we've had the Dark Soul with us all along, in the form of humanity. It's a rare, tiny black sprite found on corpses. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? And what humanity is, or at least what I believe and what I think is implied by the game, is that humanity is shards broken up into millions of tiny pieces of the power of the original Dark Soul. And you see, Gwyn even does a similar thing when he bequeaths parts of his Lord Soul to the Four Kings and to Seath. So it's apparent that you can split the power of a soul or of humanity and bequeath it to others. And therefore, perhaps the furtive pygmy did the most selfless thing, and in creating mankind proper, he gave each one of us, you know, these shards of humanity to keep our human form, and maybe being undead is our primordial state, our natural state, and so we're constantly fighting against that raw, sort of hollowed state, that primal instinct and all that. It's really neat. I really love the way they do the lore in this game, and I know I've been talking way too long about it, but I think it's worth talking about. I think it's really kind of fascinating, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Anyways, now that we've place the Lord Vessel, we're ready to start endgame and do whatever else we need to do. Let's talk to Kaathe one more time, and then we'll see what Fromp's reaction is to us discovering Kaathe and maybe learning the truth and breaking the facade that's been placed before us.
Very well. Once the vessel is filled with souls, the gate to Gwyn shall open. Seek Gravelord Nito, the Witch of Izalith, and the traitor, Seath the Scaleless. Fill this vessel with their souls, then the gate will open, so that you may kill Gwyn. Are you ready? Then let us return to the Abyss. Entrust thine flesh to me.
Whoa, look at that mustache flop. It's a meaty mustache. Let me rest the bonfire for a sec. So he does have more to tell us now. So let's go on ahead. See what he has to say.
If you wish, I shall grant the art of life drain, the legendary power of the Dark Lord. It can preserve your humanity while undead, and cast off the shackles placed upon your brethren.
So what he means by that, and life drain is the proper name. I keep calling it like soul suck, or you know, humanity suck, or whatever. You know, the power of the Dark Hand. But what he's offering us is a place in the Darkwraith's covenant. If we warp, it just takes us back to the Firelink altar. So
Undead warrior, to speak now is premature. It begins with your retrieval of the Lord Vessel. They failed me, every last one of them. They were strong, but saw not the truth. I am certain that you will prove different.
There, I think he might be talking either about the Four Kings or the Darkwraiths or all of them. He's saying that maybe he had different intentions for them, but they could not handle the power they were dealing with and were corrupted, became hostile.
They failed me.
So let's enter the Covenant now. And now we can offer humanity. And humanity is how you rank up in this covenant. It's actually one of the easiest covenants to rank up in, just because it's very simple to get humanity. You don't even have to do the intended purpose of the Covenant, which is to invade people to steal their humanity. If you have it, you can just give it to him and he'll reward you regardless. But, you know, being a Darkwraith can be kind of fun if you dig the PvP scenes, so... Right here, we can ask for Covenant items. He will sell you cracked red eye orbs, which is pre-red eye orb, how you invade other worlds. These things break after you use them, so you kind of... It's a limited use item, but once you give 10 humanity, he will give you the proper red eye orb, which has infinite uses, and you can just invade to your heart's content after that point, and the cracked red eye orbs become pointless, so...
They failed me.
Yeah, they failed you. Okay.
Farewell.
So what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to eat like 10 humanity, and then another 30 humanity. It's a lot of humanity. Or no, maybe just another 20. I think you need 30 all in all to get to +2. And then I think you need about 70 altogether in order to get the Dark Hand buff that I was talking about earlier. The life drain power-up, I guess. So, yeah. Just pop in all this humanity. And we gather it to give it to Kaathe.
What is it? I am your guardian. Go on. State your wish.
Alright, so we're going to offer humanity. And we're going to do this for a little while, so I'll skip to the important bit. Okay, that's our 10th one. And there you go, we get the red eye orb automatically. We gained a rank in the Covenant. Does he have anything new to say now?
They failed me.
They failed me.
Farewell.
Yeah, after that initial lore drop, he's a little short on words, really, so... Time to pop more humanity. And while we're doing this, the other time we were doing this was for the Chaos Servant Covenant to restore the Fair Lady and try and rejuvenate her eggs, although that plotline was essentially stripped out of the game. But when we were doing that, or we did that in the first playthrough, so I'm probably not going to show it off this playthrough, but essentially just to let anybody know, if you don't want to have to go all the way back through the videos to find that particular bit, I think you get Fire Tempest or Chaos Firestorm. I forget the exact name of the pyromancy. In fact, since we're like right here and I can attune magic, I can just go look for it right now. Save us all a little trouble looking stuff up. She gives you Chaos Storm. That is the 30 humanity reward in the Chaos Servant Covenant. And then for joining that covenant, you get Great Chaos Fireball. Fire Tempest, I believe, you get for defeating the Bed of Chaos and then talking to Quelana. But you have to have a +10 Pyromancy Flame in order to spawn Quelana. And I don't think she'll spawn after you defeat the Bed of Chaos, or at some point during that part of the game, so... A little bit of a, you know, there's always a process to things, and it's kind of weird. Usually you're not going to get all this stuff on your first playthrough. I don't think it's possible to get, you know, everything done. I mean, it definitely isn't, because certain souls you can only get once per playthrough, and sometimes you have to choose between one or the other, like with Ornstein and Smo. It's just a lot of, like, you know, a lot of stuff like that. So we've got our 20 humanity now. This is going to take quite a while longer, and he's just going to nibble on my head while we do it, so... The reward is worth it, though, I'll tell you that. It's pretty sweet. One. This is the last one. We're going to get our spoils right after this. There you go. Look at all that stuff. Does he have anything new?
They failed me.
They failed him.
Farewell.
Kaathe is just extremely salty about them failing him. So what we got there is the Darkwraiths set. See, we're Darkwraith +2. You need 30 humanity for that, so make sure you know that before you go pop in the humanities, or just know that in general as the... That's the point you have to get to. And then you get every physical, like, tangible reward from Kaathe. So we've got the dark mask, the dark armor, dark gauntlets, dark leggings. Let's see what they say. So, armor of the Darkwraiths, former knights of New Londo who descended into dark. Their armor transformed and remains a symbol of the dark servants and their diabolical art of life drain. So if we put all this on now, we look pretty spooky. We're actually not as imposing as the ones in New Londo. They're just foreboding for the fact that they're quite a bit taller than us. But yeah, so you get the dark sword, which I don't have enough dex to wield. You need 16 dex to wield it properly, but it's a straight sword type weapon. The sword of the knights of the four kings of New Londo. Its blade is wide and thick, and it is wielded in an unusual manner. When the four kings were seduced by evil, their knights became Darkwraiths, servants of the dark who wielded these dark swords. And going off of that, do I have it with me? I swear I better. There you go. Dark Hand, which, if we read that, the Darkwraiths, incited by Kaathe, use the power of the Dark Soul to absorb humanity, an art shared by this weapon, which also acts as a special shield. The Ancients, particularly, could sap the humanity of even a replete saint in the blink of an eye. So this is sort of the proper look of a Darkwraith. The Dark Shield, the Dark Sword, the Dark Set. It's all very dark and foreboding. But you see, we've got pretty standard on the normal moves of the Dark Sword. Oops, I keep kicking by accident. That is not a part of the moveset. But you got that. A little spin. Oh, let my stamina recover. A little backdash, forward attack. These are the strong attacks, though. If you guys recall, the Darkwraiths have some very nasty combo attacks they can do. And that's essentially our version of it. It's a very sort of elegant swinging motion, but it looks pretty damn cool. So there's that. So yeah, Darkwraiths. We are now a Darkwraith proper, but we don't actually have two Dark Hands now. I thought that Kaathe gave you an extra Dark Hand, but that might not be the case. Either way, this is it in the right hand, the weapon hand. You get the life drain ability from it. So there you go. And I guess that's what there is to see for the Darkwraiths, so.
What is it? I am your guardian. Go on, state your wish.
If we ask for Covenant items, he still only offers the cracked red-eye orbs. Yeah, it looks like, I think if you already have a Dark Hand in your inventory, he might not give you one, maybe?
They failed me.
Okay, I'm done with your failing me crap. Oh, okay. It's letting me get very far away from him before canceling the dialogue. Now, I'm not sure. I really want to test this out. If we take off the Covenant of Artorias, I don't know if you stay alright in the Abyss. Let's find out. Yeah, you're actually okay. I think the Covenant only applies, the Covenant of Artorias only applies when you're fighting the Four Kings. You have to wear that ring. So it's kind of nasty because they take a ring slot from you. Like, you cannot have anything else on. They forbid it, which is a little merciless, if you ask me, but there you have it, so. And you know what? I didn't really show off the rolling attacks of certain weapons, so I should do that. I think they're pretty similar to the movesets we already saw. Like, you know, same as a running attack for that with the backstep. But, I just want to show them off a little more properly. Also, something fun about this area is that, because it's this very, you know, just the blackness all around, it particularly helps to emphasize the moveset of a weapon. So, like, people, when they make GIFs of a weapon's moveset, this is, like, the perfect area for it, because there's nothing sort of distracting in the background. It's just this pure area, and it's really cool looking. But yeah, I mean, the movesets are pretty standard, honestly. I'll show off, I guess, the Golem axe. I didn't show off the rolling and backstepping stuff. Honestly, it's really standard. I don't think this thing even has all that unique of a moveset outside of its chop and then its wind throwing ability. And then for Dragon Slayer Spear, let's See what it does. Nice little downward strike. Stab with 2 hands. So yeah, good stuff. Alright. You get the idea. And there is actually a limit. I think this is sort of a circular-shaped arena, so you can actually reach the edge of the abyss so that you're just running against a wall. Let me see if I can show that off, because at some point we're going to stop making distance away from Kaathe. It's a while, though. I mean, you can get pretty damn far. I think right about here we've hit some sort of wall, because the camera's trying to correct us away from it. Oh god, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Okay. You can go up pretty damn far, though. It's a very large arena. It's made so that you can, you don't get stuck up against a wall where you're fighting the Four Kings, I think is the idea. Like, it's possible, but it's very improbable. So, anyways, before we end the episode, let's go back to Firelink Shrine and, see the light of day again. It's been a while. And let's see what Frompt has to say about this turn of events. We didn't bring the Lord Vessel to him. We didn't sort of follow his orders, his wishes.
Sorry, fool. You could not be the chosen one. Enough. I shall slumber until I am awakened again.
Whoop. And so he's gone from the game now. Frompt, that's exactly the same dialogue that happens if you attack him too much. He'll just call you a sorry fool, saying you could not be the chosen undead. You can still use this pit, to my knowledge, though. I'm not going to confirm. Well, I'll confirm it right now. Yeah. Same as before. We don't really need Frompt to get down here now. So that way, gameplay progression will always be possible, even if you piss him off. You can essentially do this all on your own. He's just there to kind of guide you. But you see here, Kaathe will not appear unless we warp to this location with him. So if we need to find Kaathe from this point on, we go to the Abyss, like so. And that's the reason why you can warp to this bonfire. Some bonfires, like, I think most bonfires, except for the Bed of Chaos, most of the bonfires post-Lord Soul fight have a warp to them. Or is that true? Four Kings with the Abyss. Seath definitely with the Crystal Cave. You can warp in there for whatever reason. I don't know why. I guess maybe a shortcut to the Blue Slab location. I'm not sure. Why am I forgetting one? Oh, Nito. Yeah, you can warp to Nito, so... Actually, that might be a good next step, because before we go on with the Lord Soul gathering, I should farm some Eyes of Death so that I can show off ranking up in his Covenant. But that's gonna be for next time. I think this episode was a lot to take in, probably best to take in on its own. So that said, thank you all for watching. I hope you really enjoyed. This is sort of a turning point, and really, like, this is the plot that I wanted to show off really badly. This is the part of Dark Souls lore that I kind of adore it. I think it's really, really well put together, and I think that feeling of, like, that aha moment when you learn about this stuff is so satisfying. So, anyways, I'm a Darkwraith right now, so I don't know if I deserve to praise the sun, but you know what? I'm always a sun bro at heart, so praise the sun, everyone. Have a good day. Take care. And the horror will see you all next time for some more Covenant progression, maybe some Lord Soul gathering. We'll see what happens. I'll try and keep it brief. This time, you know, I wanted to go through the whole process, killing the Four Kings, which we did alright on. 2 attempts, not bad. But, yeah. So, take care, everyone. Goodbye.